Whenever you have an existing object and you need to draw a perspective version of it, it's very helpful when actually we take a moment and, for example, do some very basic proportional studies. So, for example, blocking out the object into a cube or square actually, and see maybe what are other additional elements we could use to see for reference. So for example, there you see I put out some verticals. Here's my midpoint there and there. Okay, because kind of like here at this point, coming over, there's my other corner. Kind of like at the midpoint, it starts to arc down. This whole piece here is, it looks like 1/4, so see, this is kind of like 1/4. This is actually 1/2. This also feels like 1/4. And we maybe make a line through there. Yeah, closely. So this also seems to be kind of like 1/4, 1/4, so 1/2 actually altogether. Okay, so let's put this actually to some work. So here's my box. And we say this is basically a proportional cube. And for example, let's try to transfer all those elements over. So inside that drawing, I'm going to create myself those diagonals. Okay, because we, for example, decided that let's work at that bottom part. That's like 1/4 parts. Okay, so I make a vertical line down there, and maybe from the horizon line go over and back there. So if I maybe subdivide this one more time and subdivide it one more time, ta-da, there's my 1/4 part down here. Okay, can do the same here. And there, and there, I have it as well. Okay, so why was that important? Well, this point is at a 1/4 and this point is at a 1/2. Okay, so from this point I draw a line back, and I draw not a line back because that part we don't really see, so I will skip it. And I'm going to make rather thick lines first and straight, just to block everything out. There and there. Okay, let's go back to here because I need this line actually. There, 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 and there. Let's put these lines down. Perfect, see? That's kind of like a very basic representation. So I made those actually first linear, simply to quickly get through the exercise, but you see now we can actually arc those as well. So we have, for example, here a small lip that comes down 1/2 and 1/4 down. Okay, so let's go back to here. So because I did all this line work down here already, I can simply draw these lines up. It's actually my 1/2 width. And maybe here And there's my midpoint. One time down. And there's my half point. So there's my 1/4. And take a look at this now. I drew on the wrong layer, but okay. There. It is. Okay. Let's go back. This part actually is slightly arced. So how do we do this? Not really difficult. Let's go back to here. And my next element of interest is going to be the top face. So the top face, for example, I could subdivide. So I find the midpoint. I actually also have a midpoint there, for example, there. You see, there's my midpoint. And I'm going to use a different color now. And for example, I can pluck a height line up. Let's say like this. And then I go back and put this one up. And take a look what we have here. Here's one of my best friends. Another construction plane there. And we also have a construction plane, for example, there. So why is that important? Very simple. Let's go back to here. So all I need to do now is actually, and I'm going to remain in red, so you see the different parts now. I'm going to draw a nice arc over here. There. And there, for example, is our rotated part on top. So this is a kind of simplified process, of course, how we did this. Obviously, I skipped a lot of fine details, but what I wanted to quickly show you in this short exercise is how you can take those profile views and then create a nice matching perspective drawing. So let's actually remove all this because there's one thing left I would like to show now. So this thing actually is slightly rotated up. So let's actually try to do that inside our drawing. So it's not really very complicated because all I need to do, I'm going back to my original drawing here. Yeah, red, perfect. And I'm going to create myself some extra lines there. And then I put these lines up, up, and up. So bear with me for a moment. So now I have to match at best the height correctly. And it will become pretty clear what I'm doing here just in a moment. So you see there I put down another cube. And the main reason is, check out what I have here, there. And let's go with a thicker pen. There, for example, now I would have my cap rotated back. See that? So I simply created myself a cubical object behind the object I drew first. So I can show this part kind of like in a 90-degree rotated back. And something like this is a good underlay because I made sure that all my hard edges are correct, and then I can actually take another sheet, put it over, and then do variations, or for example put in all the rounded curves or surfaces I really would like to have. And that's actually a small thing I missed. You see here the slip is slightly moved forward. So that's actually also very easy to draw. So for example, let's zoom in a little bit. So let's make this with another color, let's say green, or well, let's use black. Okay, so from the vanishing point through this midpoint, I draw a small line. Simply because the small line is what I need. And then from the right vanishing point, whoops, there, and draw something down there. And this might look confusing, but think about this line is actually going away from this blue main vertical face. So, and if I do this, for example, so from here through this corner onto that black line, and there, black line, here with a bigger stroke. Check this one out. You see how this actually looks like, no, we rotated a small flap 90-degree down, but I can actually use this as a helper to understand maybe how I can rotate a face there. So this part is slightly rotated. And that, for example, is then how we could create then a small structure. Kind of, you see this is all vertical, and then this part bends out a little bit. And again, it's all about vanishing points, squares, construction planes, diagonals. It's very repetitive, fortunately, because that means once you internalized it, and yes, I know, I'm repeating myself, I just like to say it again, once you master the basics, everything else will work. If you don't master the basics, you will have a lot of problems.